Ahead of the national and state elections in 2023, Nigeria's weakening economy, rising poverty, violent conflicts, and deepening divisions continue to pose a clear threat to the nation's peace and progress. The dire situation has naturally heightened the clamor for the restructuring of the Nigerian state. Now joining us to discuss the state of the nation and why he believes that the only way forward is for the constituent nationalities that make up Nigeria to come together and negotiate their coexistence is Chief Robert Clark, a senior advocate of Nigeria. He will also be helping us to clear the air on what the Interpretation Act provides as a deadline for the president to sign into law or withhold his assent to a bill passed by the National Assembly. Welcome to the morning show, Chief Clark. Good to have you here, sir. Good morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. You're welcome, sir.
Good morning, Rufai. Thank you very much.
Morning, sir.
Before you joined us, we were having this conversation with Arise News analyst Emmanuel Fene. And before then also with another guest about this Electoral Amendment Act bill, which the president has not signed. We've had so many interpretations of Section 58, subsections 4, 5, and Section 59 of the Constitution and the role of the legislature under Section 4. And some people are saying, well, the time has already passed. The president has not given his assent. Some people are saying that he still has time to sign or not sign or offer an explanation. Sir, what does the law say?
Well, it depends on which divide you are. The law is very clear that once the National Assembly passes a bill and sends it to the president for assent, the president has a limited period within which to consider the bill, assent to it, or return it back to the National Assembly. In the present circumstances, Mr. President has received the bill. He's not satisfied for one reason or the other. And, of course, the bill goes back to the National Assembly. The question is, what happens there? Do they look at the area in which the president says, look, I am not satisfied? Do they ignore it? Those are the two things open to them. Either to look at what Mr. President is talking about and amend that area, or refuse to amend it and, under the rules of the Constitution, pass it with a 3/3 majority, which overrides the president's veto. So there is nothing wrong in it. It's part of the political gymnastics. But one thing I want to say, everything in Nigeria, is geared towards politics. Our electoral system is being ruled by politicians. It is what they want that they want to see. It is what they want to see in the bill. For instance, I, Robert Clark, do not like a constitution that does not give room for an independent candidate. You see, all the problems we have in Nigeria today are by these parties. They have dominated the political arena. They have made it so hard that decent people like us, I'm not saying I'm very decent, cannot enter into the political arena. I would suggest that one of the things that can bring sanity to this country is to allow the Constitution to allow independent candidates. If independent candidates are there, we will not see these turncoats overnight running from one political party to the other. If we have independence, we'll be able to have people who have clear minds about what they want for this country to converse without wasting money and be voted for. So the question you have asked me, what happens to the bill? There are two things. The National Assembly heed of what Mr. President has suggested, or ignore it and veto it. Thank you very much.
Okay, sir. So the controversy has been about the specifics of this as regards the time that 30 days elapsed. There's been a back and forth here in the studio. So we'd like to know specifically the 30 days elapsed, as it has elapsed as we speak today. And secondly, it was said that the president did take counsel from the Attorney General of the Federation, which he said if we're to go the way, of the direct primaries, there's going to be confusion. I'd like you to enunciate more on that confusion. What confusion will it cause for the people to be stakeholders in the electioneering process of their democratic parties, owing to the fact that the so-called America that we copy and pasted this mode of democracy from goes that long way of that direct primaries?
Look, I'm so sorry to disappoint many people. I am not keen on this electoral or no electoral. What I am keen is that we have a system that guarantees that you and I will be free to contest, will be free to vote. But the type of system, we have since 2000 or 1999 inhibits the right of an individual to vote or be voted for. Many people are not seeing it that way. I don't like political parties. I don't like their games. But I cannot be voted for because I must belong to them. Why should that be? That is inhibiting my right to freedom of expressing myself. So I'm sorry. I will not be able to help anybody that are in the Electoral Act that needs some talking about. I don't believe in it, and I don't want to subscribe to it. I'm sorry about it.
Well, Chief, I know your point about independent candidacy and all of that, but the whole argument about this electoral amendment bill is that within the framework of what exists in Nigeria at the moment, steps should be taken to deepen the credibility of the electoral process. Do you think that the president refusing in 2018 to give his assent and now refusing in 2021 could have implications for the credibility of the 2023 process? Or within the existing framework, there are still consequential steps that can be taken that could help? As for the National Assembly, well, we would like to know, do you think they will have the courage to veto the president?
Well, if it's for the good of the country, if it's for the good of the masses, they should have the courage. But the problem is that all these things are meshed in politics. And once policy takes over anything, you cannot get any benefit from it. The whole electoral system, whether Mr. President's view or the National Assembly, is all enmeshed in politics. That is what I hate. We should not allow politics to permeate the electoral system. We should allow the system to be free from any political consideration. Most of the problem today is the political consideration. Well, what I will say, to be honest with you, is that let everybody in the National Assembly vote his conscience. If they believe that what Mr. President is doing, regardless of the fact that he's the president, is not for the interest of the common man, they should veto it. If honestly they believe that Mr. President is correct and they are wrong, they should look inwards and make the necessary amends. The bottom line of everything is that you and I, we want a free and fair election. Whichever way we can get it, let us have it, please.
Wouldn't electronic transmission that is in the bill be that path to free and fair election?
Well, all these are questions of opinion. Because politicians are known to find a way out to rig election. Some other people like you and I we don't want rigged elections. And that is why I say politics is having its day. I believe that electronic way of transmitting is the best way for us. That is where the whole world is going to. But if somebody else feels that it is not the proper way, let him say his mind out. But please, don't allow politics to have a say in election matters.
Well, Chief, some Nigerians have been saying that, look, before we can even have these 2023 general elections that we all look forward to, that we have to first resolve certain outstanding issues, principal among those issues, the Constitution, a complete overhaul of the Constitution, what some people call a people's constitution. Some people go a step further and say that what we need is actually restructuring. What do you say to all of this? Because it looks like we're already in the 2023 mode, and officially, government is even no longer thinking about some of those foundational issues.
For the past 10 years, I have always said it, and I will continue to say it, that the 1999 Constitution is a rotten egg. We can never, never make anything out of it. Outside the fact that it was a constitution written by the military, the whole concept of it, a constitution that allows a man to be a governor for 8 years, after finishing from that 8 years, he goes to prison. What sort of constitution is that? A constitution that allows a pauper who had nothing to enter the House of Assembly to serve, come serve within 5 or 8 years as a multimillionaire. That is not the type of constitution we want. A constitution which allows 80% of the revenue of the country to be used in sustaining governance. That is no constitution. That constitution has to be rewritten. Number one, let me tell you, the constitution cannot today, with the revenue Nigeria has, maintain 36 states. 36 states can only be maintained if there is enough revenue accruing to this country. Today, since 20 years ago, the economy of this country has been going down. Our revenue has been going down. We have to go on borrowing. So my suggestion is this, and I've always said it: restructure Nigeria. Turn it into 8 geographical zones. Have 8 attorney generals, 8 governors or whatever, rather than having 36 attorney generals, 36 this. Do you know one funny thing? I was watching a program. The number of policemen guarding politicians at occasions where they meet together, and they'll be shouting, "There are no policemen to guard you and I." Everybody in Nigeria today who is nothing has a policeman guarding him. Does that make sense? Now we want to take 10,000 policemen, whereas every PAMSEC, every DG, every governor, you see, talking in a political rally with almost 100 policemen surrounding them. These are the things we have to stop in this country. When I said it 6 months ago, that the country is going down, I was nearly vilified. Today, what I said 6 months ago, all the northern governors are now hailing on the federal government to start a state of emergency. When the hen has now come to roost, they are now shouting. They have not provided jobs for the junior ones. They have not made any meaningful advancement to the economic life of the people. The people are now standing up against them. They are all now shouting. What I will suggest, let the states look after their own security now. They created it. All the young boys that are rampaging them were their own creation. So let them find a way to it. Leave the federal government alone to fight Boko Haram, and allow the states to fight insurrections through banditry. They are the creators. They created the situation. They take money, spend money lavishly without any meaningful development. The young boys are there now, nothing to do. So my own suggestion that we should jettison the 1999 Constitution. It gives, let me put it this way. A governor comes in as a governor of the state. He controls all the money. He controls what you call security votes, which he does not account for. A security vote that has no basis in law. All of them have been stealing this money. There is no law in Nigeria today, either by the Constitution or otherwise, that allows security votes. Security votes were the creation of the military. A military governor asks for security vote because he wants to be free. But the civilians came in, all of them, all the 36 governors, they have been drawing security votes. They must all be made to repay it. Or, if they are not ready to repay, let them come and account for it. Instead of bankrolling projects, none of them. I give kudos. There are certain states, Akwa Ibom State and many other states in the south, and 1 or 2 states in the north, who are doing very well. I give them kudos, even though the Constitution allows them to put hands into money they don't belong to them. Therefore, what I'm going to suggest is Nigeria, in the situation we find ourselves, should come together, shorten our local governments, shorten our states, make sure that what we are earning is what we can afford, and develop Nigeria so that there will be sanity, people will find work, and investors will be ready to come into Nigeria.
Great point about restructuring. A lot of people say that's the way to go. But some watchers also argue about the role these same current politicians will play even if you restructure Nigeria. They go back to 63, the glory of the 63 Constitution. But what happened in the Western region? It was a fight between politicians, and everything that was touted to be a very admirable model of governance was scuttled. So if you restructure Nigeria to 8 zones, and these same politicians oversee a restructured Nigeria, will anything change?
Definitely many things will change. Now, we spend 80% of our revenue on maintaining governance. That alone will go. Because how can you be earning 80 million and you are spending 60 million in maintaining governance? Now, we are having a deficit budget for the past 2 years. The salaries of civil servants, the salaries of public officers have not been reduced. Rather, Nigeria has been going abroad to borrow money to add to the budget, when most of the money they are borrowing, 80% of it, is also going to go in maintaining the civil servants and public officers. Look, we have to rethink. We have to rethink. Politicians will kowtow when a system allows them. When a system is so broad that allows them to do whatever they like, then they will misbehave. I can assure you that politicians will only react within a given constitution, because this constitution that allows every politician to be rich, no matter what is beginning, to allow every governor to be rich, and most of them go to jail, we need to look into it. We need to look into it. And God bless Nigeria.
Well, Chief, I know that there are people who say, oh, bring back the 1963 Constitution because of its emphasis on federalism. There are persons who say, oh, can we go back to the 1960 Constitution even? And we put all the blames on the political elite, on leadership, as Chino Achebe professor, argued convincingly in his book, 1983, The Problem with Nigeria. But these new Nigerians that will transform Nigeria, where are they going to come from? Is the problem really with leadership, or is the problem with the followership? Because, you have been around for seasons, and we pray that you are still here for many more seasons. How about these Nigerians who are even worse than their leaders?
Look, the 1963 Constitution, by its concept, is the best we ever had. But the number of regions in 1963, there were only 4, plus the Midwest. And the North is too large to serve as one entity. So the 1963 Constitution will be good in the sense that whatever a state derives, the state takes it and pays royalty. So that if there is oil in a state, the state takes the oil revenue and pays royalty to government. Now, what I'm saying is that the ideal for Nigeria is the 1963 Constitution. I'm not saying we should go back to it, because the North is so large in 1963 that it will not serve the purpose good governance should serve. Therefore, the West, the East, the South, and Southeast can make up of 4. And then the North can be split into 4 other states under the 1963 Constitution. Now about leadership. Leadership comes from an innermost mind of a man to come and serve. Many people all over the world, they put service first when they decide to be politicians.
Okay,
in
Chief.
Nigeria today...
Chief?
Yes, please.
Sorry to interrupt you. We need to take a short break. After that break, we'll come back to you so that you can conclude your thoughts on this interface between leadership and followership. It's still the Morning Show. We'll be right back. And Chief Robert Clark, SAN, is still our guest. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Morning Show here on the Arise News channel. Our guest is still Chief Robert Clark, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Thank you for staying with us, Chief Clark. You were talking about this interface between leaders and followers in Nigeria. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you.
Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah?
Yes, please.
I'm hearing you.
Yes, the other leg of the question I asked you that you were already addressing before we took a break, that really, where is the problem? Is it really our leaders that are the problem? This Nigeria that we want to change, where are the new leaders going to come from? From the current leadership class, or these followers who are just as bad as their leaders, some people say?
Well, let me give you an example. When I grew up, I left the secondary school in 1956. There was a leader called Obafemi Awolowo, and he had many good things. He was the number 1 in the whole of Nigeria. Following him and looking at him, the eastern region started following too. Today, WMBC, tomorrow is here. So leadership plays a great role in the development of a nation. Singapore is a good example, and there are many other examples. Therefore, forget about followership. Followership will follow what the leadership is saying. Anybody who does not follow leadership will have himself to blame. So I will continue to say that Nigeria needs a good leadership. We've never had it since independence. We've never had it. The military jettisoned it. If the military had allowed the civilian government in 1960 to 66 to continue, Nigeria will not be where it is today. But let us forget, that is history. When the military jettisoned it, there was good governance. But once we started in 1999, we thought Nigeria will be different. We never had a leadership in 1999. We had somebody who had a military background and who was not a Democrat. And also, the young boys who grew up as governors were all Abacha boys, who all had Abacha money, who had too much money on their hand to start becoming governors. That is where I started. So I am saying that leadership must be paramount in the development of a country. We need good leadership. Followership is a simple thing to curb. If a follower is not following the leadership, many people will twist his ear and ask him to come back. So my advice to Nigerians is to encourage good leadership. How do we get them? I am sorry to say, in all the crop of politicians we've had since 1999, I cannot point to 10 of them. I, Robert Clark, speaking for myself, I cannot point to 10 good politicians since 1999. We have monetized politics. Now, every young lawyer, instead of going to practice, will go and be a politician because that's where money is. Any young doctor, instead of practicing, everybody wants to be a politician. It's because they want money. I had a small boy in 1999. He told me he's from Kogi State, that he's going to be a politician. Today he's one of the richest politicians I know, without nothing. So, you see, we have to make sure that service comes before money. But in Nigeria, politics is money, and all people rush into politics because of money. So my belief is that leadership is the most important thing we should now infuse in a new Nigeria. When we draw up a new constitution, we will not allow political parties to be so dominant in dictating the lives of the ordinary man. Politics in Nigeria has become a circle. As one of my friends say, to get into the circle of politicians, you must have heavy, heavy, heavy money. And where do you get the money from? Everybody talks about money. You want to buy a ticket to be a governor, you have to pay 50 million. You want to be a senator, you must buy a ticket for 20 million. Where are we going? Where are we going? And we have the young boys around. Internationally, Nigerian youths are noted for brain work, for perseverance. Let us use them and forget about monetary politics.
Well,
God will bless us. I am sure Nigeria will be great. And I'm happy. I was the greatest critic of Buhari. But what I'm seeing on ground now, in terms of development, in 5 years' time, Nigeria will be happy to have had him.
Well,
God bless you.
Thank you very much, Chief Robert Clark. Thank you very much for joining us on The Morning Show. Thank you.